Hey, Rob here for Quadratec.com. Today we're checking out the heated version of the Oracle Oculus 9-inch Bi-LED projector style headlight for the Jeep Wrangler JL and the Jeep Gladiator JT. Oracle offers the Oculus headlight in a couple of different versions for you. You can choose from the standard version, which does offer a couple of different color choices for the bezel and for the DRL LED Halo ring. You also have the color shift version of the headlight with multiple RGB controlled color zones on the headlight for a high level of personalization. And you can get more information on both of those versions of the Oculus headlight by clicking the info button to watch those videos. Today we're taking a look at the heated version of the Oculus headlight. With the built-in heating element, this adds an additional layer of safety and convenience to the headlight. Especially during winter driving conditions, most LED headlights simply do not produce enough heat to melt away any snow or ice that could accumulate on the lens. Of course, when that starts to build up, it's going to diminish the amount of light output from your headlight. With the built-in heating element and automatic temperature sensor, when the temperature drops low enough, it's going to turn on that heating element to help melt away any snow or ice that has built up on the lens of your headlight and prevent additional snow and ice from accumulating, so you always have the maximum amount of light output from your Oculus headlight. Now, speaking of those output numbers, the Oculus is a Bi-LED projector style headlight. That means we have a single projector lens in the center of the headlight with an LED light source behind it, and there is a mechanical shutter to switch between low and high beam. Now, on low beam, you're going to be outputting 3,200 lumens of light with a super sharp cutoff. That's going to keep that usable light down low on the road and off to the side, hopefully help not to blind any oncoming traffic. Now, when you switch to high beam, that mechanical shutter is going to lift, allowing the full output of 5,200 lumens of light down farther the road and up higher so that you can see any potential hazards much sooner. The Oracle Oculus headlight does utilize both passive and active cooling methods to help keep the LED chips at the appropriate and optimum operating temperature for the longest lifespan, with built-in heat sinks and a mechanical fan to help keep them running cool. Now, this light housing is a 9-inch housing designed to be a direct replacement for your factory housing in both the 2018 and newer Jeep Wrangler JL, as well as the 20 newer Jeep Gladiator JT. If we flip it over, we see it is a fully sealed unit, and it does feature a plug-and-play style connector that matches your vehicle's headlight connectors for an easy install. We do have one other weatherproof style connection here on the back of the headlight, and that's going to be for the DRL LED Halo ring. Now, that will require the use of the included standalone wiring harness that is a very simple install. It simply runs to the vehicle's fuse box using a fuse tap for automatic control of that DRL LED Halo ring. Now, as I also mentioned, that heating element is controlled by the automatic temperature sensor, and because of that, there's no additional wiring you need to install or switches to operate that heating element. The heated version of the Oculus headlight installs exactly the same as the original version of the Oculus headlight that I installed in my Gladiator just a short while back, and I'm going to show you how easy that install was right now. The first step is to go ahead and get the grill off of our Jeep, and if you need to know how to do that, you can click the info button to watch our Quadratec Academy video we put together showing you step by step how easy it is to remove the grill from your Wrangler or your Gladiator. It simply involves removing a couple clips along the top edge and then pulling along the bottom to remove some of the pressure clips. Now, at this point here, we can go ahead and remove both the driver and passenger side headlight. Now, each headlight is held in place with 3 10mm bolts. There are 2 on the inside edge of the headlight, one at the top and one at the bottom, and one on the outside at the top of the headlight, just near the hood latch here. So we grab our 10mm socket. I like to use an extension just to give us a little better access here. We can go ahead and get these out of the way. Now we can go ahead and remove the headlight from the grill, pulling it out, and disconnect the electrical connection in the back by depressing the tab and pulling back. With the driver's side headlight out of the way, now we can go ahead and repeat the same steps to get the passenger side headlight out. So as I mentioned before, the Oracle Oculus headlights are a plug-and-play headlight that use the factory headlight connection. However, we do need to run the included wire harness that's going to supply power to those DRL Halo rings. Now, the harness has a ring terminal on one end for ground and our positive lead. We're going to come back to that in just a few minutes. And at the other end of the harness, we can see we have two legs. We have a short leg and we have a long leg. Now the short terminal is going to stay right here in the passenger side headlight cavity. And with the long one, we can go ahead and run that across our radiator core support and drop it down into the driver's side headlight area. Now, there's a shield here on top of the radiator that we can lift up, and there's some factory wiring running behind that. That's a great place to go ahead and drop this wiring. Now you can remove this shield altogether. There's just a couple clips holding it in place if you like, but there's really no need to. We can lift it up out of the way, get plenty of access, and we'll come back and we'll zip tie that wiring in place to keep it nice and factory looking. Next, we can take the longer side of the lead with the ring terminal and the positive cable, and we can fish it right alongside of this factory wiring, running it up here alongside of our battery and next to our fuse box. We can tuck it right under here, underneath of the bolt securing the air intake, and then just continue working the way back alongside the battery with the wiring. Now once we have the wiring fished back here next to our fuse box and our battery, of course you have multiple routing options for running that wiring. I find the cleanest way to do that is simply by following all the factory wiring that's here already in place. It's going to give it a nice, clean, professional look when you're done your wiring, and it's going to keep it free from interfering with anything else under the hood. Now, the ring terminal here on our black ground lead is going to attach right here to a grounding post that's in place from the factory. You can simply use a 10mm socket to remove that nut and install our ground lead right there. Now for the positive lead here, we do have a couple options. Now you can use the accessory wiring if your Jeep had it present from the factory, those 4 auxiliary switches on the dash. The wiring is going to be present right here next to the battery. Of course, you could connect that lead right here, and then you would have manual control of your LED DRL trim rings. However, Oracle also supplies you with this little fuse tap here, allowing us to tap into the factory fuse box for automatic control of those DRL trim rings, meaning when we start the Jeep, they're going to come on automatically without us having to activate any switch anywhere. So to use that, we're going to go ahead and remove the lid from our fuse box here, and this fuse tap is going to be installed into fuse slot F52, and that's found right here in the center of the box, just to the side of these 2 relays, and it's a 20 amp fuse here. That fuse spot happens to be for our cigarette lighter or auxiliary power port inside the Jeep, and the reason we're tapping into that is because it's only powered when the Jeep is turned on, giving us that automatic control of the wiring. Now, with the wiring present as it is, it's a little bit of a stretch to get it in here. I have a routing that I really like, running this wiring here behind the fuse box and following these factory connections here on the side of the fuse box up and over, and then we can install this here into that fuse spot. Now by doing that, the nice thing is that the lid has been designed to accommodate these connections on the side of the fuse panel, meaning there's no chance that we're going to crimp our wiring here in the seal alongside the fuse box. We're not going to risk any water intrusion into here, which is really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and extend these wire leads. I've got some simple wiring here. It's 18 gauge red wiring to match that you can pick up at any local auto parts store. I'm going to be using a couple butt connectors just to extend this wiring slightly so I can get a really nice routing. But as you can see, that wire harness installs really easy. It's basically just 2 connections we need to make. At this point, we're ready to go ahead and put the new Oculus headlights into place here in our core support. We can grab the one for the passenger side here with an R marked for the right side on the back side. And as you can see, the Oculus is a really nice unit that's not only really well designed on the front, but they've even took into consideration on the back. It's a nice, fully enclosed unit. It's got these vent caps on the back. There's a cap right here in the middle that we can take off, and that's going to allow us to adjust and level the headlights once we have them installed. Now there are 2 connections we need to make. First one here is going to be for our DRL Halo trim ring. Now there is a little notch on this that will align with a tab inside the wiring harness. You can slide those together and then secure it with the little threaded collar. And the next connection here is for our factory wire harness connection. Because they're using a nice factory style plug, simply connect it right together. Make sure you hear that click, And we can set the headlight back into the bucket using the alignment tabs to set it into place. And we can re-secure it using those 3 10mm bolts that we removed from the factory headlights. Once we get the passenger side headlight in place, we can go ahead and get the driver one in place. Now, of course, before we throw the grill back on the front of our Jeep, it's a good idea to go ahead and test those headlights to make sure that the headlights work and also that the DRL Halo trim ring works. Once you're satisfied with that, we go ahead and reinstall our grill by aligning the tabs and simply pushing it into place. Now, of course, the last step you might need to do is to go ahead and align your new Oculus headlights. And Oracle does include the Allen key you need. As I mentioned before, there's that rubber cover on the backside giving you access to that alignment screw. And the way you complete that alignment is by simply taking a tape measure and measuring from the ground to the center of your headlight. And then on a wall about 25 feet in front of your Jeep, you want to mark a line at the same height as the center line of your headlights. And the light should align just at or slightly below that line that you made on the wall so that you don't glare any oncoming traffic. That's all it takes to get your 9-inch heated Oracle Oculus headlights installed in your Wrangler JL or Gladiator JT. That built-in temperature sensor will automatically turn on the heating function when the headlights are illuminated and the outside temperature approaches freezing. As an added visual indicator, a small amber LED at the 6 o'clock position will illuminate to let you know when the heating function is active. Those built-in temperature sensors will also regulate the heat level of the lens for peak performance. When they reach optimal temperature, the heating function will automatically turn off and then cycle back on when the temperature drops low enough again. Now, if you guys want to get more information or to purchase a set of heated Oracle Oculus headlights for your 2018 or newer Jeep Wrangler JL or 20 or newer Jeep Gladiator JT, you can click that info button, head over to Quadratec.com. Of course, if you have any comments or questions about the headlights or how to get them installed in your Jeep, you can always leave those for me down in the comment section below. And as always, if you haven't already and you like these videos, do me a huge favor, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification icon so be sure to catch all our latest videos. Till next time, I'm Rob. I'll see you guys out on the trail.